It's so rare to get an original musical on Broadway these days that isn't based on existing IP and maybe happy ending. Feels like such a breath of fresh air. And even if you're not familiar with it at first, there's such an accessibility to the show that draws you in. It makes you want to revisit either the cast recording or to go see it again. As an artist yourself, what was it about the production and the musical composition that spoke to you?
I think right off the bat for me, it was the songs because my character's main thing is the singing and the songs. And I think my first rehearsal was a music rehearsal actually before even we did a table read. And I just fell in love with these songs. I remember calling my family and just being like, these guys did it. They wrote real standards. They wrote like songs that feel like they're from the era. I think Frank Sinatra would be banging their door down if he was alive to sing these songs. It was funny, I didn't realize this happened, but Darren was telling me that David Foster came back after our show and we all met him, which was such an amazing moment to meet that guy. But he was like, Gil Brentley, I miss that guy. I got to go check out his stuff. And Darren was like, he's not a real person, dude. And so I think that just speaks to how great this music is. And then, of course, the story was just incredible. It was so original, but you felt like, I don't know, it didn't feel foreign. You know what I mean? It felt
Hmm.
like it had been told before, but it was in such a fresh, new way. And I just remember having such an emotional reaction. All of us did to that first table read, and so pumped to be a part of this world. And I think they do such a good job of bringing you into the world without it being like a bunch of information thrown at you in such a way that
Yeah.
it's like, please remember this. Like they kind of slip it in there for you to where it's like very easy to like understand the rules of the world and how it all works and where we're going and what motivates each character. And I just think the writing all the way around, the music, the script, everything is just so brilliant.
That's such a huge compliment from David Foster about your portrayal that he actually thought it was a real person too.
Right. Oh, well, I think it's more about the songs. I think he was just like, yeah, that music's so great. I need to go check out this guy's catalog. And it's like, there is no catalog. it's, it's five songs, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just think the writers are just brilliant.
I've got to say, like, I haven't stopped thinking about this production since I saw it on Tuesday, and there's such an unexpected, like, introspective quality to it. It makes you really reflect on the life that you're living and how fleeting time is. What's the biggest thing that you've learned about yourself being a part of this company, and how has it made you better?
Yeah, I think there are so many themes throughout this whole
Hmm.
production, whether it be like purpose, love, loss, living every day to your fullest, redeeming the time lost, redeeming the relationships lost, even when you think about like June Saw and his dad. And so I think like it hits me different in different seasons when I need it. But I definitely love that we're a part of a show that's resonating with so many
Hmm.
people. I mean, even my dad called me after he saw it the first time. He called me like 2 weeks later and he's like, man, I just can't stop thinking about like we have a shelf life. Like we have a shelf life, and what do I want to do with my life? So it's given him like new vigor to like go out and make it every single day. And I think that's what I want to take from it is just to like love hard, to live life to the fullest, to take advantage of the time that is given me. And also, Darren says something every night after we do the Broadway Cares Fights AIDS call. Like this is a show about taking care of one another, and I think it's like caring for the people around you, and how can you do that? How can you best express how you feel about them, and also like make that kind of your purpose to like make the people around you feel loved and taken care of.
Beautifully said. And this is also your Broadway debut. Congratulations, by the
Thank
way.
you.
You'll always be the actor who originated the role of Gil on Broadway. And hopefully, this production continues for many more years to come. What's
Yeah.
played the biggest role in helping you shape your interpretation of this character? And as you think of future Gils in the future, what do you hope actors take from your portrayal?
Well, I think Gil is like a wonderful character because for many reasons, because so much of who he is in the material, as far as like what kind of performer he is, and that was
Hmm.
shaped song by song for me. And I think like at the table read, I had this like real specific idea of Gil, that he's like a lot like Frank Sinatra, and he's like a cool like cat. And then, but then when you have Jenny, and Jenny is such a huge production number where like you're hitting marks and you're doing moves, you know what I mean? Like, and it needs that for the show. It's like, okay, he's not Sinatra. He has a little bit of like Sammy Davis Jr. in him as well. And then you get to like Why Love and all that stuff. And he also plays piano, and he's writing his own music. So that makes me think of Nat King Cole. And so I think I was able to like shape it as we did the show more and more, just based on what was needed for the show.
Mm.
But then also it's an awesome part to play because you can really make Gil whoever you want, and you can like create his backstory, and you can get as creative as you want. And I've done like a million different like little stories in my head to like who Gil is. I mean, I have like a pretty specific story for his life that I don't really share, but like for instance, like for a time in Atlanta, I had it in my head like Gil wrote every single one of these songs. Like Gil wrote this whole thing, and like he's involved in this story and he cares about this
Mm.
story. But like I think it's fun being a part, having mystery in the character, because you can fill in the gaps and you can draw from whatever you want to draw from on some level. But I think there is a lot of clues in there as to who Gil is, specifically in Sentimental Person. I
Hmm.
think that speaks to like a life that was really focused on his craft, and I think that's why he's so good at it. And he writes amazing songs, and he can play piano, and he orchestrates these strings, and he's composing with the strings. Like that's a really talented guy, and I can say that because I didn't write the songs, and I'm not actually a composer. But like Gil is, and I think that speaks to like a life very focused on his career, and then he finds love later in life.
Yeah.
And I think Why Love probably gives a clue that he loses that love at some point. But I love Gil because he's just like, you can kind of make him whoever he wants, but I think he's like a really good guy. And I think it speaks to the fact that his like ghost has reappeared to help Oliver along his journey and help him break free from like the chains of his programming and experience something as wonderful as love.
You can feel how deep this character sits within you. You actually answered my
I
next question. Go
I
ahead.
love Gil. I want to be Gil. And like
I
Gil inspires me like deeply. So yeah, I do love him.
thought this was like the perfect role for you to make your Broadway debut on. You answered my next question, but I also love how much juxtaposition there is in this musical, and you really get to explore that through the songs that you're in. You know, Why Love is so haunting and it's so subtle, while Jenny is so bold and expressive, not just vocally, but through your facial performance as well. How different is the preparation to get into the mindset for those different numbers, especially given the fact that it is only a one act on most nights or
Yeah.
one night?
Well, I mean, I think I was actually just asking Marcus this question. I was like, how do you go from character to character? And he was like, well, the work's been done in the rehearsal room. And I think that's true to a degree. You kind of run it so much that like your mind kind of just like, even like I hear the lobby music in the hotel, and it's like boom, we're getting ready for Ginny, like in my brain. But I think the one thing going for playing Gil is like you're always Gil. So like whatever mood he's in, it's Gil. Like so I think Ginny is like, he's on like one of those variety shows, and he's getting one
Mm,
song, and he's written this song, and he's created this performance. And so while he is like, scared at the top of the thing, um I'm still Gil, and I'm kind of like I feel like a competitiveness, because probably like Julie London just sang like a sexy, smoky "I'm in the mood for love" before the commercial break, and then we're coming back, and Dean Martin's telling some jokes, and then they're like, a new talent, Gil Brentley, with his new hit song Jenny, and I'm coming out to
mm,
like crush and like make a name for myself. And I feel like the youth of Gil in that song, of just like, I'm here to like show you guys like I've got it too. And so that's fun, but he's still Gil. And then I feel like versus like Sentimental Person would be like a really way more vulnerable, like
Hmm.
I'm looking out at the crowd. I'm usually looking at people in their faces, which sometimes is just sucks because the response, the response you get, I think when people feel seen by the person on the stage, sometimes they respond negatively, but other times it's great and I have like beautiful moments with people, but it's just more vulnerable. It's more like this is my story. Like I'm in love and it's scary and but I think you're in love too, so that makes me feel happy and a little bit better. And I think it's just a more vulnerable moment, maybe like small jazz bar, like Into the Night um, song. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I'm always Gil, but it's just Gil's different parts of his life and different motivations.
That's so funny. During Sentimental Person, I also saw you kind of pick out people throughout the audience, and then you also it feels so special to the people that like you pick out. So it's funny to hear kind of different reactions
It's
based.
really fun and I love it. I said it sucks, it doesn't suck, but it's just funny when people feel perceived
Yeah, yeah,
when they are in the mode to just observe. It's fun to watch their like reactions. Sometimes it's very joyous, sometimes it's very like, are you looking at me? You know what I mean? And so it's even fun just to be kind of like I love that about Gil. He's watching the story with you. He just gets to be involved.
I feel like it works so well for this production too because it's so immersive, especially with like the not to give spoilers, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, and the way, like, I think the way that they even built it, as far as like
yeah,
the set gets more and more expansive, and you almost feel like you're going inside of it in a way, because as it opens up, giving away no spoilers, but like it just gets bigger and it becomes this big box by the end, and then Gil gets more and more involved in their story as well, for being just like a guy on a record player to like a guy who actually finally kind of like has some moments with Oliver where we yeah, and then just like
yeah,
observing their story from the apartment above. Yeah, I think it's a fun, they did a really good job of just pacing it out
yeah.
so well.
And as you just said, what I think what makes theater so special is that every night is unique to that audience. And that's true for the performance you also give as a musical artist. How different are those experiences? How does that comfortability of performing your own music on stage translate as you make your Broadway debut?
Yeah, I mean, I think it translates a lot because of the character, definitely. I think also just it's just a very different experience once again from other musicals that I've done, of just like where there's a fourth wall.
Mm,
There's not one for Gil. Like there's no protection in that for Gil. I've been instructed to pretend that the audience is my audience. And so just having the confidence to like look people in the eye and do that, I think that a lot of that wasn't hard for me. And because of the shows that I've been doing over the last like 4 or 5 years of just like setting up shop in like whether it's a little jazz bar or an event space that we turn into a jazz bar, and just it's just me and a mic and the band, and like we're just gonna riff and like we're all in this together, and it's a very interactive experience, my shows. So I think it definitely like prepared me for that aspect of it as well. And then just to get in the mindset of like kind of what Gil went through probably in his like early part of his career of just like, showing up and singing and feeling those feelings and trying to bring that to the character on some level.
you belong on stage. And I know it's not your
Thank you.
song, but there's a line in Where You Belong about Oliver being James's anchor. Who have been the anchors in your own life, the people that have grounded you and helped you get to where you are today?
A great question. Wow. I have an amazing family. I'm one of 7 kids and two parents that just love me so much, and they taught me to be musical, and my dad and mom are songwriters. They're wonderful singers. So probably my family keeps me the most humble, and also just like the most grounded. Uh, it's yeah, it's hard to feel like a big deal ever when you have six other siblings. You know what I mean? Like in the group chat, like it doesn't matter what I post in there. Like we just performed at the Tonight Show, and it's gonna be like the news of the group chat for like 2 hours, and then someone's gonna post a baby picture. You know what I mean? So it's like it brings you back to like real life, and he's definitely an anchor. My family's definitely an anchor for me. I also have like friends that are out here doing it too. And I think just having a shared experience of the grind with
Mm,
people can be such a wonderful grounding experience of just like, okay, cool. Like these things I'm feeling are normal. Like I'm not losing my mind. Like I shouldn't stop yet. Like, just to have that and then just to have people to bounce things off of. I think that's probably the hardest part about being a music artist, is in a lot of ways, like a lot of times you're on your own, unless you have like found your team.
yeah.
And I that's what I love about the Broadway experiences. We're all here together. Like I go into Helen's room in between shows, and we'll just sit on the couch and kind of like I'll talk to her about what I'm feeling, and usually she can relate. And there's such camaraderie in Broadway that I really love. But my anchors would probably be, yeah, my family, always, always, always.
The chemistry amongst the ensemble really translates onto that stage, especially for people that got to experience the show on Tuesday. Going back to the cast recording, I also love how it really captures what you experience in the theater. Can you talk a little bit about what went into making that happen and how you ensure that sense of continuity from the stage to the studio?
Yeah, that's all Will Aronson, Hugh Park, and Deborah Abramson. They are just like incredible, and they worked so hard throughout the whole recording process. It was really a sprint season for them. Just we all saw them working so hard, like just discovering like how exactly do we want this to be remembered forever. I think in Broadway and when you're like developing a musical, I've been amazed to see like the open-handedness of like I've created this thing, but I'm willing to change it for the better of the story, and I'm willing to take critique, and I'm willing to like uh go deeper here or cut this. Like we they cut a whole song in Atlanta
Mm,
before we went to the big stage. So to see that willingness to keep it flexible, switch into a okay, how do we want this to be remembered forever? You know, how what where did we end up? Was really cool to watch. So I think for me, the process was I think when you sing a song over and over and over again, it can start to shift and mold, and maybe I'm singing this not exactly how it's written over here, especially since my songs are jazz songs. It's like very like I've been given a lot of freedom by Will and Hugh, but I just want to sing it how they wrote it. So I'm always like, please give me notes if you hear something that's not how it was
mm.
written. But yeah, I think for me it was just going back to the drawing board and going like, okay, how were these songs when we first started? Like what was added with the depth of like what we found by like exploring Gil and like what serves the story and what emotions can we really like pull out. And I think like also just having the opportunity to just really get in the weeds and like um express vocally the emotion now that you're not on stage getting those other things, like where can we like really like kind of dig into like the feelings of the songs now that I'm not like running away from Oliver because something happened, no spoilers, like during this line or that, just being able to go like, let's just tell the story of the song. And so that was really cool.
I think huge credit to you too. I think especially for me, anybody that sees you in this production is gonna want to go see a live set if you like your original music.
Thank you.
Yeah, the vocals are incredible in this. Without giving any spoilers again, there's such a powerful thread in the musical about memories. With this again being your Broadway debut, what's the standout moment thus far that you'll carry with you?
There are so many, and it's funny because I even wanted to text the cast today and just be like, I love you guys because we're sharing so many like wonderful memories together. I think the first preview was really special. Almost my entire family was here, and there was a show stop in the middle of Ginny, and so I got to. I like was out on the stage alone when they show stopped it, and then I went back in, and the whole audience is just friends and family, so they're just like clapping and going crazy. And then I came back in out after the stage stop, and everybody clapped. And I sat down, everybody clapped again. It was just like such a fun thing. And then to just go out on bows, and it just felt so electric with me and Helen both making our Broadway debuts. And
Mm,
I think there was just such an encouragement from everyone around us. There was no patronizing. There was no like, oh, I remember my first time. It was very like we were supported throughout the whole process to like and encouraged to like feel every bit of it and like realize how special it was. So when it finally came time for that first bow, like I think we both just like exploded. Like it was just and I think you're really holding your breath as a creative the whole time you're doing anything of just like, is this really going to happen? Is this
mm,
really going to happen? Like, I think you're waiting for disaster until you take the bow. You know what I mean? Until opening night and until the curtain opens. You're just kind of like, is it going to happen? You know, because so much there's so many ups and downs and surprises in this industry. So I think when we made that finally got to bows, it was like, just this relief and this dream come true. It's real feeling. So that probably sticks out for sure. Yeah, yeah. And then Tuesday night, dude. Tuesday night will be when we had a show stop for a medical emergency, and she's doing great. We've been getting updates from our cast member, one of the people in the band. Um, we were getting updates. She's doing wonderful, and I'm so glad. But just being told like to go out on stage and figure it out and then just like kind of stilling yourself and then just walking out there and then it becoming this like really cool chill experience I got to share with Darren and Helen.
yeah.
um I just think that's like a once in a lifetime thing. I don't know if that'll ever happen that way ever again. I hope it
Yeah.
doesn't because I don't want us to have any stops, but I just look back and I'm like, golly, that was like so wild. I don't know.
I also think it heighten your performance too, because you come out on during Tuesday, and there's just like this humbleness and like this earnestness that you brought when you were kind of, I guess, drew the short straw that just like
Well, and
made that
I
perform.
kind of like lied a little bit because when we were in previews, we anticipated having stops because we have
Oh,
so
okay.
much going on. So kind of the plan was that if shit hits the fan, sorry, pardon my language, I'm the one who has to go out. So like, but I didn't anticipate like that ever happening because even when we'd have stops, it'd be like 2 minutes long. But and that plan was so far in the past. So when I heard, I was up in my dressing room and I heard we need Dez Duron on the deck right now. I was like, oh God, here it is. So it was cool too. The crowd was so wonderful, and
Yeah.
I think immediately I felt that they understood that I was out on a limb, and then they became incredibly supportive. And I think I just wanted everybody to know, like, feel comfortable and know that, like, I'm not out here just like wasting their time. I like actually really do want to entertain you for the next 10 minutes, and like everyone's gonna be fine. And but yeah, it was fun.
You did a fantastic job. I got one really quick last question for you, but outside of maybe happy ending, you've mentioned that being a part of this production and being in a city surrounded by so many artists might give you more time to work on your own music. Is there anything that you can share about what fans can expect on that front?
Yeah, I really want to turn my focus to that. I don't know if it'll all be original immediately. I think given the part that I'm playing on Broadway and what people kind of expect from me, it might be some like jazz covers or maybe even like jazzifying some Broadway songs.
Mm,
Um, but I definitely want to get my own original music out as well, and that's definitely going to be a focus here soon. I think even it should have been a focus a while back, but I've just been enjoying the ride so much. But definitely working on that, and then always writing. And so every show that you see, I hope to add new songs and try new songs. We're gonna be doing some Joe's Pub song shows in September that we just finalized, and then there will be Bryant Park um, August 8th, and that will be we'll do some originals, but that'll be mainly like my dream for it, and we're still figuring out what the budget is. But my dream for it is like six horns and like
Mm,
we just do like bangers, the
yeah.
songs the songs you love, big arrangements, and so I think it could be a fun thing to come out and just throw some frisbee and listen to some big band.